All right, we're continuing our Dr. Stone catch-up slash finale question mark. We're going into chapter 230, and then there's 231 and 232, and then they just stop. And I don't know if that means that the series ended or it went on a big break or what, but there hasn't been anything for a month now. So I'm expecting maybe that it's just over. It really feels like we're gearing up for the big finale here. All the questions are getting answered. The final showdown is at hand. But if that's the case, I'd be a little disappointed because I feel like this series, more than most, deserves to have a big celebratory finale. Not just, we solved the problem and therefore things are great. Show me that things are great. Show me the wondrous new society that develops in the aftermath of removing this final existential threat. Show me everyone enjoying the fruits of their labor. Show me every one of those wonderful characters that was introduced over the years, enjoying the facets of this new, modern, hyper-modern society that they produced. I'd love it. I'd love it. And maybe there's time for that too. I don't know. The pace has been so breakneck. So many things have been happening in every single chapter. And look at this, right away with chapter 230, the philosophy. All life must inevitably face death. We see the withered old tree, devoid of all leaves, clearly done being alive, and yet from it springs forth life, the acorn sprouting in the foreground. I don't really think that's how it works. The acorn should be like in the ground if that's happening, I'm pretty sure. How is the tree gonna take root? Well, I don't know. I might be wrong. Maybe this sort of growth can happen too. And then also, I love the detail of all sorts of things growing on that tree too, using the rich nutrients of the rotting bark and stuff to support all sorts of flourishing new life. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. And I think here we're going to really dive into the philosophy. This was mentioned briefly before, where they first learned that Dr. Stone, the Medusa, basically makes people immortal. You can just keep perpetually petrifying people whenever they would face any sort of life-threatening condition. And Yuzuriha, I'm just guessing some combination of syllables every time I try to think of her name. I think is the one that was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then Senku is like, no. That's going to lead to massive overpopulation. It's going to lead to hugely elderly populations that are so frail and so discombobulated that they can't really contribute or even enjoy life anymore. And they're just kind of living for the sake of living. The earth can't possibly sustain immortality. And she's like, all right, fair enough. And they just kind of move past it. But here, I think, now that they're actually in negotiations with the purveyors of this infinite life, they're going to have to be a little more robust in their arguments. Because there's ways around that, too. Like, medical research is hyper advancing in this story. Their interplanetary travel is certainly on the table, especially with the ability to petrify yourself for the long, long journeys. A lot of the Methuselian arguments about overpopulation and stuff don't really apply anymore. So now let's have an actual debate. Can Earth and humanity and surrounding habitable planets and what have you, can that support immortality? If even 2022 Earth could not. The Y-Men are no exception. For those petrification devices, their mechanical guts eventually oxidize. Oxygen is poisonous. In simpler terms, they rust. These lives now fade. And this is way down in South America. We saw the overwhelming heap of spent Medusas. Death is, above all else, repulsive, terrifying. The ultimate goal of life is to survive. Similarly, stunning imagery here, both of the tranquility of the moon and the ferocious liveliness of the lions. Petrification grants them an eternal escape from death's grip. Nothing could be more wonderful. Such was the expectation, and yet they reject the stone. I love the shot of the revival water dripping down too. The paneling on this page is just phenomenal in general. Just this kind of digression of ideas, this thesis statement, breaking both in terms of the flow of art and the flow of reasoning by the introduction of the revival formula, by science's rejection of immortal life. Why? Okay, so never mind. This isn't the debate I thought they would have. I guess it sort of is, but this one is a little more simple. They can just be like, yeah, but we don't want to be stoned. No. We would rather be alive and die and actually like move around and do stuff than just be statues. Pretty simple. Shots of Kohaku and Senku. This is really interesting too because, there was a lot of chapters about who are they going to take to the moon, who is the best candidate for each of the different categories. And usually they focus very functionally on we need someone who's going to drive the ship, we need someone who can fight if they need to, and we need someone who can understand scientifically what's going on. And now all of those skills have kind of become irrelevant, and instead it's just going to come down to a clash of personalities. It's going to just come down to conversation between those people that happen to be there and this purely, totally alien entity. So this will be interesting. I don't even know if it's going to go in this direction. I don't even know if we're going to get that kind of debate. But I will say this. I think, given that, the people that were chosen is really interesting. Because Senku has cheat code level intelligence, understands the capabilities of man, both good and bad, understands the trajectory of science and what is possible, can speak to all of that. Kohaku is the exact opposite. She is just gorilla woman from the Stone Age who can barely scrape the surface of what all of this stuff means, but has perhaps the strongest joy of life in the series. She just loves moving her body. She loves eating. She loves exploring. She loves jumping around and just seeing things. Her animal instincts are probably the strongest of anyone in the series. And then she can, speak to the joy of life from like a totally different perspective. And then you have Stanley, who in many cases is sort of like a robot. His entire MO is that if Zeno tells him to do something, he just does it. He follows the mission to a T with no remorse, no mercy, no emotion, except in those very rare sentimental moments where he's kind of like, yeah, we're gay. So his perspective on life is totally, totally different. And maybe the way he sees this choice between agency and movement and free will and stuff, and just living on as a statue might be kind of different than the other two. I don't know. I don't even think it's going to go in that direction. I don't know if it's really going to matter that those other three on the moon. I think more their choice was to reflect on Tsukasa and Rusui and stuff. Anyway. Okay. Because, yeah, the people back on Earth, they can very easily chat with the people on the moon now too, so it's not like they're not there technically. Okay, for the Y-Men there was no concept of negotiation, but they could employ logic. Petrifying Wave was voice acted via radio waves. Aha, so this is why they're imitating Senku's voice all the time. Because he was the first one to issue a voice command via radio waves that they could pick up. Once enveloped, they will know the glory of petrification. So this is when it starts spamming the command to petrify the whole world again. And then, of course, they did petrify the entire world again during the fight with Stanley as a self-preservation method. With only dear old Suika surviving. Oh, what a touching arc that was. My gosh. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the way that they showed starting from zero again, from such a totally different perspective, from something without cheat code level intelligence. This is beautiful. Anyways. Finally come to understand the glory of petrification. So they must hate Suika. Because last time, like, a dozen people popped out and started doing stuff. And there was already survivors from the space station. And they were like, well, this is screwed from the start. The second time, only one person pops out. And for 7 years, toils endlessly to deny everyone else the glory of petrification. Yes, and this is where they decide that immortality is no good. Why do they reject everlasting life? Logic is not apparent. Perhaps the truth is they want to die. Okay. So the way this one's self-activated is because they put it in a vacuum tube. Even though that was meant to deny all voice commands to it, instead it was able to revive itself because it stopped oxidizing. Okay. That one happened recently enough that I'm sure the author had a complete picture of actually what was going on when he decided that would happen. So it's pretty smooth explanation. That was a misfire. After all, the rather unintentional act, right, Wyman? Great, that is. This is a great shot. It reminds me so much of there's this really famous space picture, The Pillars of Creation, a shot of this nebula that was captured by the Hubble telescope. I remember this being on the cover of a National Geographic as a kid, and not really understanding what I was looking at, but yeah, it's a big deal picture, and just the way that, like, I don't know, the framing of it, maybe the structure of it reminds me a lot of The Spread. I don't know if it's intentional because it's not really that similar, but somehow it evokes it for me. That is one point to clear up. Okay. I like Einstein being the one to offer up them on a golden platter. But I'm sure his question is, if that's what they wanted, how could they do that if they were petrified? Maybe other species that they petrified actually were able to move around while petrified or something, but then you would think inevitably they would still be able to die too. Want to seize our science to replace your batteries and create more of you. But by sealing humanity in stone for thousands of years, you destroyed scientific civilization was the key to the whole operation. Why shoot your own plane in the foot like that? Discovered a... Oh, okay. Okay. And they didn't think it would take that long, I guess, for people to pop out just via brain activity. I guess is what they're saying here. So Senku's basically saying, right now I can't make more of you. Right now we can barely change your batteries. But look, I'm ready to learn. If this is what you want, if this is the negotiation we're having, where you stop harassing us and we learn to make you and fix you, then I gotta learn how to make you and fix you. Can you tell me how the heck you work? Okay. And this will be cool too, because I feel like it would be very apt for the series to actually offer up some sort of explanation of how they work. The series has never shied away from giving us an explanation for everything. Sometimes it's very glossed over, sometimes it's very simplified. Other times, when the actual technology is the focus of a little arc or something, they actually go into quite depth, some significant depth of how the technology works. So I would hope for this, the central technology of the whole series, the central mystery of the whole series, they take the bold action of coming up with something, some sci-fi property, some made-up stuff. It'd just be fun, right? Let's see, do I have any good ideas? No, I don't. The anti-gravity is enough to already defy all sorts of physical sensibility, not to mention the purely magical petrification waves that somehow trigger an elemental shift in things that have a certain DNA pattern. But I feel like it's one of those things where you will eventually reduce it to this little nugget of magic, just something that just cannot and will not exist. But that what will be fun is if they take that little bit of magic and then they layer some plausible things around it. Like, let's say there is some sort of anti-gravity pellet, they'll still explain how the material is built around that, such that it can navigate in midair with, like, you know, maybe that explains its weird twisted up shape. Or if there is some sort of some petrification type magic or whatever, this light, this frequency, we just assume that, but then it explains how it like reads the genetic code of something and how it propagates from cell to cell. I don't know. I think there's still a lot of potential here, even though in the end, it's not going to be real. India's full-blown scientific civilization is still only 1,000 years old. Well, this might be fleeting, but we got 7 billion people to pick up where the last folks left off. So we make progress at dizzying speeds. I love this imagery of advancing windmills over the years until the modern wind turbine. Cool. I don't know why, man. I want to negotiate, just you and me face to face. Huh? What? What's going on? Whoa! I like it. I love how the symbolic imagery of the Medusas has been evolving. That at first, do you remember that moment during the Treasure Island arc where it's just the singular one kind of floating in the sky and you're like, what the heck is that? That had a good aura to it. That had like this nice sense of like simple mystery that in the end it was like just this thing, and yet so many questions were bound up in that thing that we could see it was made out of technology. We could see that it must have been designed. It wasn't just naturally occurring. And then we would see like the big mound of it in South America. And then you're like, oh, there's like 1 billion of these things. And then we saw on the moon this like writhing nanobot entity made out of them. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm getting it now. They're all coordinated. They can communicate and act together. And then this kind of like final representation of... And they were always talking to the little encapsulated one, the one they brought, their like little buddy one. But now instead it's like shifting to the Omni-Mind or something. Senku is being summoned up. I don't know, it reminds me of like Berserk, which is another series that I'll finish reading soon and make videos of. Just the presence of a god and how transcendent that is, not just in terms of what it means for the story, but how it's depicted. That they had built up the Medusa all the way from that one little object hanging in the air to this. It's awesome. Whoa! The Wyman transmit information solely through electromagnetic waves. Devices absorb those waves, which is how they made their stealth ship. Any transmissions within a sealed sphere would be contained and unavailable to outside parties. Lend us your bodies. We got one real shot at this. It's gonna sound crazy, but hear me out. The whole universe had better get excited. Whew, boy! Alright. What in the world? What in the world is he gonna do? It's final chance to figure it out. I think it's going to be that thing I talked about before. Using petrification as a way to travel interplanetarily. That they're going to do strategic petrification in order to propagate and spread out to other worlds. I think that would be awesome. Because it would represent this final transcendental antagonist that goes beyond real-world technology, and then a final transcendental opportunity that goes beyond real-world possibilities. That'd be so cool! And I think that would be a pretty great finale, that they head off into interplanetary space to usher in a new era of human prosperity, a new era of desires being met. I don't know. Okay, that's my guess. We'll find out. And of course, the deal here is that, hey, by harnessing your technology and being able to have this more strategic petrification and do all this interplanetary travel, we'll be able to make trillions of you. The rate at which we can help you out will increase absurdly quickly. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm excited. There's just 2 chapters left, I think. I don't know. Or maybe it's on hiatus. I don't know. But we'll find out. See you soon.